Yes, 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 we are live, we are live, we are live. It's another beautiful day. And yes, as always, we are grateful for every day that we see, that, we get to live. We are grateful for this day. Yesterday, we're supposed to come on with our Wednesday live, but we couldn't due to some one or two things. So we decided to reschedule for today. And that is why we are having our class today, Thursday, at this time. So I welcome you. If you are watching live, if you are catching a replay, make sure you leave some comments in the comment section so that we can see you are watching. You can let us know where you are watching us from. And if you haven't shared the link, share the link with other parents, share the link with in your various groups. Parenting, when it comes to parenting, I say all of the time that we all need to learn parenting. So people in your community, people around you, let them learn, share the link to them. This is a free class and everyone can benefit from it. So share the link so that they can all join and learn. It's another beautiful day, as I have said. And today we are going to talk about the dangers of overprotecting our children, how we are actually destroying responsibility. Yes, so many parents are actually doing this wrong. So over the past few days, I've had quite a number of calls from parents. We talk about the problems in the country, and some of them were also inquiring about the inner tribe, and we had quite, you know, we spoke at length, and some of the things that we spoke about, I was like, if we don't rise, okay, as parents, if we don't rise to invest in ourselves, to invest in ourselves to make sure that we grow from point A, the point where we are now, to another point, things are going to remain the same way, and it might even get worse. Yes, if we do not rise, because so many of us are doing things wrongly, so many of us are doing our overwhelmed. We are doing things that we are not supposed to do. And last week I traveled, okay, and I went to the place that I went to. There were kids, and you could see how helpless these kids are. One of the reasons why I decided to talk about this, okay, the danger of overprotection. We are almost all parents are overprotecting their kids. That is what we are doing. We are overprotecting our children. We are not allowing them. So you see a child who is able to, who can eat very well, but cannot take responsibility for themselves. A child who can, you give food to this child and the child will be able to consume everything. But when it comes to washing the bowl, when it comes to doing things for themselves, it is difficult for them to do these things for themselves because they are always, always, always being overprotected. And this is why we need to talk about this, because we cannot raise leaders, we cannot raise response responsible, adults, if we are always overprotecting our kids. I get it. We all love our kids, we all love our kids, but you know that when you are loving without wisdom, you are actually going to destroy that child, and you are going to get the opposite of what you want to actually get. Love is an emotion. You don't use emotions in parenting. It's not always about emotions, because if you are always thinking, if you are always following how you are feeling, you are going to do things that will mess up your process. And you can love your child, you can love your child, do everything for the child, save them, protect them, and all of that, and that child can still go and be destroyed. So we need to focus on building responsibility. We need to focus on letting them face some challenges their own without always coming in to protect them. It's very, very important. It's very, very important. If you are joining me, please share the link with other parents and I welcome you. Okay, so we need to take note of this. Now, the purpose of this webinar is actually to move us from the place of overprotection, where we are overprotecting our children, we are killing them. There is no confidence. You don't see confidence. You don't see resilience. Children do things and then they give up. They don't even want to try. They are afraid. And because it's all because we don't allow them to do the things that they have to do for themselves. So if we are willing, and if we want to move from this point to another point, then we need to be willing to let the kids try. We need to be willing to let the kids, explore and do things by themselves. I get it. Someone may say, how do I do it? And that is why we are having this class. That is why we are having this class. When you protect your child, okay, from everything, that they struggle with, you are not saving the child. You are silently weakening that child. Let me take that again. When you protect your child from every struggle, okay, you are not saying saving them. You are not saving them. You are silently weakening that child. So this is what we need to take note of. If we are always coming in to save our children, overprotect them, we don't want them to get hurt, we don't want them to do, some task. We don't want to even see our children struggle. When we do that, we weaken our children. So let's look at the meaning, the actual meaning of overprotection. Now, overprotection simply means that you trying to do for your child what they can actually do for themselves. You come in all the time to protect yourself, to do things for them. You don't want them to feel a certain way. You don't want them to cry. You don't want them to struggle. So you are always coming in to protect them. That is the meaning of overprotection. Okay, you are shielding them, something that will help them grow. You don't want it, so you are always taking that thing, you are always doing for them what they can do for themselves. And we've heard, I believe we've all heard this saying that God will not do for a man what a man is supposed to do for himself. So if God will not do for us, why are we always coming in to protect our children? If God will not do for us what we have to do for ourselves as humans, then why are we always overprotecting? Why are we always, coming in to save our children, the things that we know that they can do for themselves? Why are we always all the time coming to save our children? So we need to take note of this. Now let's look at the forms of overprotection. We have the emotional overprotection. Emotional overprotection is, when we don't allow our children to feel the disappointment. We don't allow our children to feel the frustration. We don't allow our children to feel boredom or failure. We don't want that. That is what emotional overprotection means. That is what emotional overprotection means. Okay, and these things, there are some homes that when your child is, when you see your kids fighting, you just want to come in and then solve it for them. When you see your child struggling with something, you go and then you pack for them. When you see you pack, you are doing everything for your children. You don't want your child to feel bored. You don't want your child to cry. You don't want your child to, feel angry. Always, all the time, you are coming to protect that child. And it doesn't help them to become responsible. So we need to take note of this. That is the emotional what? Emotional overprotection. Now we have the practical overprotection. The practical overprotection is when you are doing tasks that your child can do. You are always coming in to do for them, like tying their shoes. Instead of you to teach them how to do it, you are always tying their shoes for them. You are always choosing dresses for them to wear, and you don't even allow them to wear their dresses themselves. You are doing it for them. You are tying their shoelaces for them. You are cleaning their rooms for them. When they finish eating, you go and then get the food for them. You go and wash the bowls for them. Practical overprotection, things that they can practice. You can begin to guide them and teach them themselves. You don't allow, you are always there. And that is why I always say all of the time that is why we are mostly overwhelmed, because the things that we are supposed to delegate, you know, to teach our children so that they will learn to do certain things by themselves. We don't do that. We come inside, we do everything for them, and then we think that why do I feel overwhelmed? Why am I always tired? You always be tired because you've taken everything and you are doing it yourself. You are not allowing, you are not teaching your kids anything. You are not teaching them. I speak with parents a lot, and these things are real. These things are, things that are really going on. People are overwhelmed. People are overwhelmed. So I mostly tell parents, see, teach the child. When I understand sometimes you think that the child is going to delay me. What time are they going to finish the thing? If I'm supposed to let them see, I always say, let them do it, let them delay, let them. That is the process they have to go through to be able to acquire that skill so that they'll be able to do it well. If you're not willing to let them go through the process, to let them take their time and learn all of these things, they will go and they will become a burden to you. So imagine your child grow and then your child is unable to do anything, lay their bed, clean their rooms, wash their bowls. Imagine they are going to be a burden to you. So take your time. See, if you think that your children are going to delay you, sometimes maybe you want to get them to dress, you have toddlers, you want to get them to dress by themselves, and you think that maybe they may not hurry up, you can put a timer to it. You can we dress up in 5 minutes, and then know that these things you need to teach. Take your time and then teach step by step as they keep learning. See, I have seen kids come to my home, okay, and sometimes I look at the things that my daughter is able to do, my toddler is able to do all by herself, and then I look at the other kids and I see clearly that this child lack the skills. They haven't, their parents haven't taken that time to take the child through. So you could see the struggle, something that the child could have easily done because they haven't been taught, because they haven't been taken through the process. The child is finding it difficult to do things for themselves, things that they can do for themselves. And I'm not talking about a child who is, a child who is capable, but they can't do anything for themselves. These things, I see them and I always feel sad because what kind of leaders are we raising? We are not teaching them anything. What kind of leaders, people, adults, they are going to grow to become, leaders, and they won't be able to perform because they haven't been trained enough to be able to, function. So we need to take note of that. Teaching your child the skill doesn't mean that it doesn't mean that the child will grow and the child will have to go and be serving other people. Like, I mean, that kind of thinking that we have, so that they'll be able to do things for themselves. And these skills, when we are building them, you may think that it's not necessary, but you are building other aspects, okay, of responsibility when they grow. It builds up. It builds up to something. And when it gets there, when they grow and they are given a position that will require them to, take charge, they are able to do it because it's something that they have practiced over and again. And another, form of overprotection is the decision-making overprotection. Decision-making overprotection. You are choosing your child's dress to wear. You are choosing the kind of friends the activities, their outfit. You are choosing everything for the child. You don't allow the child to make decisions for themselves. And when you do this, you don't let your child to think independently because you think your child is small, your child is young, they can't do things. You don't even trust the child. So we need to let them make their own decisions. I have said most of the time that if you have a toddler, give them choices, let them be able to choose. It's all part of the decision making process. It starts from there. Let them begin to choose their own clothes, the kind of shoe they're going to wear. So you pick the ones that you want them to wear, so that if they choose any of them, it wouldn't be a problem. They will still be able to, go wherever they want to go. You are building decision making skills with that simple thing that you are doing. Decision making skills. Okay, so don't try to overprotect. Don't choose everything for your kids. Your child will come to you. I don't know what to wear. Then you go and take it for them. I don't know what to do. Then everything. And that is how they will grow. They will grow to become clueless. They won't be able to make decisions for themselves. Friends will be making decisions for them. Other people will be making decisions for them. Let's take note of this. A child you protect today becomes an adult who cannot protect themselves tomorrow. If you are protecting them all the time today, they will grow and they won't be able to protect themselves because they will be looking forward to other people coming to rather save them. Let's take note of this. Now let's look at why parents overprotect. Why do we as parents overprotect? We overprotect because we fear. The first thing is fear, emotions. And I said earlier that if you are parenting with lots of emotions, you are going to mess up your process because you don't do parenting, you don't achieve a goal only by using emotions. No, you need to be able to, apply thinking. So you do it. We overprotect because we fear. We fear that our children are going to fail. We fear. We are afraid of what people are going to say. What is this person going to say? You could see, sometimes you could see other parents, their children misbehave outside because maybe they want their phone to play games with. And then the parents goes like, no, I'll not give you the phone. And then the child begins to cry. Other people around will be saying, give the child the phone. Why don't you give the child the phone? Because we are afraid, okay, I'm going to be judged. So let me just give the phone to the child and then I'll just be okay. Then I'll just, I'll just be okay. And then we do that and then we spoil everything. So don't be afraid of what people are going to say. Sometimes you fear that your child is going to embarrass themselves. Sometimes you fear they are going to embarrass you. Hmm. You are afraid. People are going to say, I'm a bad parent. People are going to say, I'm not doing this. I'm not doing this. I'm not watching the child all the time. So if we want to move from this point, then we need to take note of that. When you are raising your child using fear, you are teaching the child that the world is unsafe. That is what you teach the child. Oh, so the child grows and then begins to know that this place is not safe. So everything they see the world that the world is full of danger. That is what you are silently communicating to the child. You don't know the very little things that we do. That is why you need to be very, very intentional when you are raising a child. Because every little thing you do translates into something bigger at the end of the day, later on in their lives. Okay? It's when you are always using fear, a child who is constantly shielded grows into an adult who constantly doubts themselves. They are always doubting. The world is not safe. This place is dangerous. All of that. And fear hovers around them. And another thing it does is that it convinces the child that they are incapable because everything you are going to do it for the child. So they see themselves like, I can't do anything. Mommy or daddy is going to do everything for me. They feel, I can't do anything. So they're listening, I can't do it. I can't do it. I can't do it. And you could find some children see that a lot. I can't. I can't do it. Please, let us begin to let them do things for themselves. Another thing is that it prevents emotional resilience. You don't get your children to become resilient. They are always relying on you. Mommy is going to do it for me. Daddy is going to do it for me. So when they face any challenge, they give up easily. Easily. So when you are overprotecting your child from your fears. These are some of the consequences. Okay, these are some of the consequences. They don't become resilient and it turns love into limitation. That's your love. Your child sees it all. You are supposed to rather guide them. The love you have for them is supposed to guide them. But that love has turned into a limitation because you love them, you don't want to see them hurt. You are overprotecting them and you are limiting them when you do that. Okay, so let's look at the second reason why parents overprotect. The second reason why parents overprotect. The second reason why parents overprotect. We overprotect because of guilt. There are some parents who are not available for their kids. They are so busy, they go here, they don't have time to even, they don't, some parents don't even see their kids within the whole week. So when they get the time to be with their kids, they do everything for them because they feel guilty. That is why they do everything for their kids. Another reason is trauma, the trauma factor. Hmm, trauma. Some people, when they were young, they felt unsupported. They felt unsupported. There was no one to help them. There was no one to, be there for them and all of that. So immediately when they see their child struggling, they remember what happened in their childhood. And then quickly they come to save the child. So until you heal these things, it's going to be difficult for you to actually not to overprotect your child. It has to come from intentionality. You should know what you are doing. So if you don't, you are always, the moment you see your child struggle, you quickly come inside and then you come in. You can't even say no to your child because your child can't take no. And it's difficult for you. So pressure, the trauma factor is one reason why we overprotect our children. And another reason is, cultural pressure. People, what do people say and all of that. We've spoken a bit about that. So we are always looking at what people are going to say. We are going to, I always say that, see, those people, what are they going to actually do for you? Why are we always all the time thinking about what people will say? What is someone going to say? That I don't raise my child well, my child has done this, and I didn't beat the child, so I'm a bad parent. And I don't want people to see that I'm a bad parent, so I'm going to beat this child. I'm going to insult this child in public. When we do that, what do we get from it? It's just to satisfy our own ego. Yes. And we do that because we are not intentional. Sometimes someone comes to you and tell you that your child has insulted me, and there and then you beat the child in front of the person so that the person will see that you are a good parent. Like, what have you done? You haven't taught the child anything. You haven't. So we need to do these things out of intentionality. I said it last week that you need to have a journal, okay, where you record all bad behaviors. Whenever your child does something you don't like, record, talk about them, call them, talk about them. Don't disgrace them in public. Don't shame them. Don't shame them. Don't. It doesn't help the child. You reduce their confidence level. Okay, so let's take note of that. And now let's look at how overprotection actually destroys responsibility. We will be done in a few minutes. How overprotection destroys responsibility. When you're overprotecting your child, you are just letting them become irresponsible. That is what you are doing. You don't know that is what you are doing, but that is actually the kind of child you are raising, an irresponsible child. Hmm. It teaches them to be irresponsible because they feel they are helpless. They can't do anything. Mommy is always there to help me. Daddy is always there, not to even help, but to do it for me. So they feel helpless. And when when they grow, they are able to do things for themselves. They see, or whenever they go through any challenge, they go like, okay, someone has to come and do it for me, because that is how it has always been. So they are always waiting for someone to come in and save them, for someone to come in and do something for me. Hmm. When you do what your child can do for themselves, you are teaching them that they cannot actually do it. So let them be able to do things for themselves, and it damages their confidence. Some other time, I think was it 3 days back, someone was asking me, how do I get my child to become confident? How? And I told the person, you need to let them to be able to do things for themselves. See, when a child is able to do something, let's say you give your child some Legos, and then they are able to arrange all the Legos, or maybe a puzzle, they're able to arrange the puzzles. See how confident they become. And when you give them another puzzle, They believe in themselves that they can solve it because they've been able to solve the first one. So when you are overprotecting your child, when you are doing everything for them, they feel less confidence. They feel they know that they can't do it. So if you want to be a confident child, build skills, teach them to do something, guide them. Don't do certain things for them. Don't overprotect them. Your child leaves, something at home, and then because you don't want them to be punished, you take it and then you go and give it to them. Their homework, you carry your child's homework and go run to the school and then go and give it to their teachers. What have you taught the child? So we need to know that overprotecting our children kills or damages responsibility and confidence. It damages confidence. When a child is never trusted with responsibility, they do not trust themselves. They do not trust themselves. And then when they grow, they are afraid to try new things. They easily panic. They are constantly saying, I can't, I can't, I can't. They need excessive reassurance to be able to feel okay. I believe most of that, most of us, are like that. I mostly say we, the millennials, most of us, because of how we were raised. And it's not only us, the kids we have also raised. The kids we have raised, some of them are like that. Most of the children, they are not confident. We are combing their hair for them. We are brushing their teeth. We could see an 8-year-old. The mother does everything for him. I mean, where are we heading towards? Like, we can't be raising leaders like that. We need to rise and do something different. Okay. And it also prevents problem solving skills. When you are, one way overprotection kills responsibility, it's problem solving skills. No, they can't solve their own problems. They can't. Children learn problem solving skills through trial, through error, through correction, through perseverance. Okay, that is how they learn problem solving. So if you are always, when you see your child struggling, then you quickly come and fix it for them. When you see they are struggling with something, then quickly you take it and then no, you don't teach them problem solving skills. When they come to you to ask you a problem, give it to them back. Ask them, what are you going to do? Okay, if you have if you have a child who is unable to do things for themselves, intentionally give them problems to solve. That is what you need to do. If you solve every problem for your child, they will fear every problem that's every challenge, every problem that life brings. And we all know that life, we are going to face a lot of challenges. So if those small problems, challenges that your child is facing, you're not allowing them to solve, then how will they grow to handle the big challenges that comes? They won't be able to do that. Another thing it does is that it weakens resilience. It weakens resilience. They can't they can't do anything. Overprotection destroys resilience. They are not they can't stay on something, for a long time. They do something and it fails and then they give up. They are not resilient. They're not resilient. And resilience comes from the exposure to comfort. When you are overprotecting, you always want your child to feel comfortable, you know, because you struggled a lot. And it's also as a result of trauma. You have struggled a lot, so you don't want your child to also struggle. You have been through a lot, so you don't want your child to also be go through, those kind of things. Let them face their own challenges. They will not die. Nothing bad will happen to them. Nothing bad will happen to them. Sometimes your toddler, even your 2-year-old, there are some things you need to hold yourself. And these things you need to be emotionally intelligent to be able to do that, because you may not be able to control yourself to see your child struggle. You may not be able to do that. So let them. Sometimes you will see them, they are struggling to climb something. Keep a watch, just look at them. So far as they are not hurting, just watch them and let them struggle. Let them push. Sometimes your toddler will be putting on an attack and they are struggling with their hands, sometimes stay back and watch how they are able to solve that problem. You don't have to just come quickly all the time. Stay back, watch them, let them struggle to pull their hands up, struggling with the attire. How are they going to even get the attire on and all of that? We need to take note of these things. It's very, very important. Very, very important. Okay. It weakens resilience. When you're always overprotecting, there is no resilience. And they grow, when they grow, they fear to make mistakes because they haven't been able to allow to go through failures. They haven't been allowed to fail. They haven't been allowed to learn from their failures. So when they grow, they fear failure. They avoid responsibility. They break down when they face obstacles. There are people like that. Immediately an obstacle comes to their way, they forget to look at the other side of it, the positivity. Why is this obstacle even here? They just give up. They give up totally. And it's all because of these things, what was done at the foundation. It's very, very important. And the final thing is that it hinders leadership. What is a leader supposed to do? A leader is supposed to be able to decide. A leader should fail. Failure. A leader should be able to fail and then come out of it, learn from it. A leader is able to, is someone who is supposed to adjust, learn to adjust. A leader should try again and again. But we don't allow our children go through these things. We don't let them decide. We are free to let our children fail. We don't like because we think it's love. But as I said, you can actually love your child and mess them up later. Because there are so many parents, they think, I love my child, so I'll not let my child suffer. I love my child so much, I'll not let them go through this struggle that I went through. And then they end up raising irresponsible kids. Their kids grow and they become irresponsible. They destroy everything out of that same love. You could see grown-ups and their parents are still doing things for them because responsibility wasn't built. Because of that. And what's sometimes sad is to see male children unable to do things for themselves. We are just letting the females do everything, leaving the male, because we tell ourselves that they will grow, they will marry, and their wives are going to do all the things for them. What kind of leaders are we raising? We need to let them. There's a way to raise your boy child. There's a way to raise your girl child. And these things we teach in the inner tribe. We teach. We teach. There is a way to do that. Men, we need men who are disciplined. We need men who are responsible because of their role. We could see so many things. Feminization of the male child, a whole lot of things that are going on, that if we don't begin to take intentional steps, we are going to miss the way. We are going to miss the way, and things are going to get worse. So this is the time that we need to learn. The money you are using to buy, it got to a time, I sometimes I sit back and I recall like the monies I have spent, the monies I have spent for personal growth, the monies I have spent for just to get resources, to buy courses, I buy and I'm not afraid to spend money on things that will help me move from A to B. I'm not afraid. Even if I have to. So I got to a time for about 2 years, I had not braided my hair. I hadn't done anything. Like I hadn't, it got to a time, 2 years, no dress, no bag, nothing, nothing. Because I knew what I was looking for. And I didn't care. So far as I was using that money to do something for my own personal development, I don't care what people are going to say. It got to a time I had to wear one particular attire to church. And I was okay with that because I knew what I was doing. today you could see a parent can use hmm, a parent can spend money, subscribe for DSTV, buy expensive bags, buy expensive ribbons and all of that. But when they have to buy a course at just 100 cedis, a course at just 200 cedis, 150, then they are crying. Like, I sometimes I think about it, and it's all a matter of priorities. It's all a matter of priorities. And if you know your values, you know the things you have to prioritize. If growth is a value, you know that you prioritize growth. You will not cry over, you not go and use your money to buy wigs and bags and things that can make no impact in your life. You won't spend money on that side and leave your personal development. That is the truth. It's sometimes hard, but that is the truth. It is what it is. You can't run away from it. If you don't develop yourself, if you don't spend money, people want free stuff. Like the moment you begin to sell something, why are you selling? Why don't you give it to us for free? I also invested. It never came for free. You need to. That is how you will get the value that you want. If you're always looking out for free things, free things, tips and hacks, it doesn't really do anything. You may see some one or two changes, but the real actual change that is supposed to come, you will not get it because you're always looking for free things. So we need to take note of that. So let's look at how we can break out of overprotection. How can we break out of that so that we are able to raise our children to become more responsible? Now I'm going to give you the ACT method, ACT, the ACT method, the ACT method. The A stands for you allowing struggle. Allow your child to struggle. When you give your child a task or when your child is doing something and you see them struggling, keep an eye on them, watch them, don't quickly go to save them. Let them think, let them find ways how they can come out of whatever thing that they are struggling with. Of course, if it's something that is going to hurt them, you need to quickly come over and then, ensure they are not hurt in a bad way. But something you can just be closer and keep an eye on them. That way you are building resilience. And if the child knows that sometimes when a toddler can be climbing a bed, they will climb and then they will fall. They will climb. It's all about resilience. They are building resilience, but we may see it as something that is not so we quickly go and then we pick the child up. We don't want them to go through that struggle. It's all part. It's all part. So let's take note of that. Allow struggle. Allow your children to struggle because that is what will help them grow. Whenever they face the frustration, they face something that it's difficult for them to do. As they keep doing it, as they keep going through, they are failing, they try again, they are failing, they try again. That is how they become, the efforts that they are putting in. It will help them to know that, okay, see, these things, we see them as not very relevant, but you don't know the impact they have on our kids. As they are doing, they are failing, they are doing, they are failing. It helps them to become more resilient. And when they go and they face any challenge, it makes sense. They don't easily give up. We need to take note of this. Allow struggle. Allow it. Allow it. When they have challenges, they come to you. Let them think about it. Give them time to think about their challenges. Give them, time to think about their challenges. It's very, very important. Now, the C stand for coach. Coach, don't control. Coach the child. You are the leader. Coach the child. Don't try to control them. If you are always controlling the child, they lose, they lose themselves. They don't see how important, they don't see their worth because they are always being controlled. So do not control. Replace that control with guidance. Guide them instead. Let them, sometimes they can, when you see them struggling, you can just go, or maybe they come to you, Mommy, can you help me with this? Or when they spill something, can we, instead of you shouting, trying to control them, ask them, how can we do this thing together? How do you think we can solve this problem? How do you think? And when you ask that question, the child begins to think. Give them time, give them space to think. Let them come up with maybe 2 or 3 solutions. You try, it works, cool. You try, it doesn't work. You let them know that, okay, they should still go and search for more solutions. These things, you need to have time and do it, because in the long term, there is something that is going to build in your child. And who knows, maybe your child is going to become the next president. So if you are intentionally teaching the child all of these things, imagine the kind of leader we are going to have. If you are intentionally learning to get better to raise your child, imagine if your child grows to become the next leader of the nation, the kind of leader we are going to have. So it's very, very important. Coach, do not control. Do not control. So you need to teach when you are doing this, teach the 3 builder questions. I call it the 3 builder questions. So what happened? Ask them what happened. What are your options? What options do you have? Let them come up with options, okay? And then which one will you try first? So what really is the problem? What are some of, come out with some options, some solutions, and let's try first. Let's try all the solutions that you have brought. We are going to try them one after the other. So you try this, the first one, it doesn't work. You try the second one. You try, you keep trying until the child knows that, you help them to know that whatever challenge that they go through, there is always, always a way out. And it is their responsibility to think for themselves to find the solution. We need to take note of that. A controlling parent weakens a child, but a coaching parent always strengthens the child. So are you a controlling parent, or you are coaching, or you are guiding? Which one are you? That is a question you need to ask yourself and answer that. So let's look at the last letter T. The last letter T is transfer responsibility step by step. Responsibility grows with gradual transfer. You don't, I know of some parents, okay, they will just go and give their kids a whole lot. When you do that too, you are just burdening the child with a whole lot. So you need to take it step by step. Look at the things that you do for your child, the things that they can do for themselves. Pick one and then begin to take them through how it is done. Teach them, guide them through first before you give the responsibilities to them, so that for them to do. So take note of that. Don't just go and give everything to overwhelm the child. Take it step by step. So you transfer responsibility step by step. Let them put their toys away. When your child plays, let them be able to put their toys away. Don't let them leave them on the floor. When they remove their clothes, let them go and put them in the laundry basket themselves. Don't pick it up and then go and drop them yourself. No, let them be able to do that themselves. Let them lay their bed, lay their table. When they finish eating, let them wash their clothes, their bowls. It's very important. So you pick one of these things, you teach gradually. When they get better at it, you move on to another responsibility. You teach, and then when they are learning, you introduce another thing. So you introduce step by step. Then gradually they are learning to do all of these things. You could see, and it will, if you give yourself maybe a time, so let's say you can say, by the end of 2026, my child should be able to do this, that. You state everything down, and then you take your time. You take your time, and then you write how you are going to teach that to the child. One of the resources we are introducing next year in the inner tribe is we are going to give them a planner, okay, sort of a parenting planner. So you record, it's going to be some sort of you're going to record your child's development, your child's process, everything. And if you are pregnant or you have a toddler, hallelujah to you, because it starts from there. It starts from there. The skills you want to build in the child, you write it down, how you are going to build. So from what stage to what stage, the skills you want to build, you write down how you are going to build that skill in the child. So each child will have their own planner. Children are different. Hmm. Every child is different. You don't compare an elephant to a bird. Every child, they all have their strengths, their weaknesses. So you know your child, you study them, you know that okay, this is the area where my child is struggling. So these are the skills that I need to build in this child till they turn maybe 10 years. Then after 10, I know okay, they have mastered the skills. So we are moving on to the skill. And it's a process. You don't rush it, but make sure you are going through the process. Make sure you are building, you are doing what you have to do. Because if you don't give time to it, you are telling God that you can't really, handle the responsibility He has given to you. We need to, so far as you have given birth to that child, it is your responsibility. And I tell you, you are going to be held accountable for this, for the child. Every child is a blessing. Every child is a solution to the problems that we have. When there is chaos, when society goes through a lot, people pray, we go on our knees, we pray to God. God bless us with a child. God gives us these solutions through the kids that we have. And then when they come, we destroy the destinies of these kids with how we are raising them, because we don't grow ourselves to be able to help these kids. We think that we can just raise them, out of from the blueprint, how we have been raised. We can just raise them anyhow, and then they will grow to become that solution that God has given to us. No, we need to work on ourselves first. We need to the way you were raised, it is not the same way you raise that child to fulfill that destiny. There is something different that needs to be done. There is a process you have to go through yourself as a parent to be able to raise that child. It is about what you know. That is what you are going to transfer. That is what you are going to use to raise the child. So if you are ignorant, imagine what you are going to do. You are going to destroy. Children suffer because of the ignorance of their parents. So the child may be, all that, but because the parent is ignorant, the child suffers. So if the parent knows better, they would definitely give better to the child. That is why we say parents learn, learn. But unfortunately, we don't want to learn. Unfortunately, we want to rather push our kids to go and learn. But we are not doing things that will make the children proud of us. My mom or my dad is always learning, and I take motivation from that to also learn to become a better person. No, we are always on our screens, wasting time, TikToking, doing things that don't help us grow, doing things that don't help us become better people to raise these kids. And then we turn, at the end of the day, we blame the children. My child is bad. My child is this. But it is you. It all comes back to you, whether you like it or not, whether you are comfortable with this or not. It is all you. It all comes back to you. If you change, everything will change. Trust me, if you change. And you don't get to that place just by accident. You need to intentionally work on yourself. I know what I'm saying. Like, I have I haven't always been like this. I used to yell a lot. I used to do all sort of things. But when I decided to work on myself, when I decided to learn, when I decided to invest in my own personal growth, that is when I even became aware of myself. And then I began to intentionally do the things that I needed to do. So it's all about you. You can put your child in the best of the best places. But if at the end of the day, you are doing things that you are not supposed to do to help the child, you are going to mess up. So let's take note of that. So I want you to take this practical steps and try. I want to at the end of every session, one thing that we have decided to do is to give parents practical, steps that they can take to at least do some changes or to do something on what we have spoken about. So take the step back exercise. That is the first exercise you have to take, the step back exercise. So you can dedicate a week, you choose one thing that your child is struggling with, but you know that the child can do. It's just because you haven't taught the child. So take that one thing, give yourself a week and teach them. Then you leave them to do those things by themselves. So that is what you can do. That is a step back exercise. Step back. Instead of doing for them, step back and let them do for themselves. Okay. That is basically it. You can guide them. You can, all of that, but don't rescue them. Whenever they go through any challenge, let them think. Ask them, what do you think can be done? Before, when they try, and they are not able to find, a way out, then you can come in and then help them. These things need to be intentionally done. The second exercise is the let them feel it exercise. Let them feel it exercise. So allow your child to face natural consequences. There are natural consequences. I say that if you don't eat, what happens? You go hungry. These are things that I tell my kids all the time. If you don't eat, you go hungry. If you don't, if the weather is cold, you don't cover yourself, you fall sick. Okay. If you leave your homework at home and then you go to school, who suffers the consequence? I'm not going to run and bring the homework to you just because I don't want the teacher or I don't want you to face whatever consequence. No, you are going to face it. So let's allow our children to face natural consequences. There are certain things we do. Okay, there are some decisions we take as people, as parents. God doesn't say, you are my son, you are my daughter, so I'll not let you go through. You will go through that consequence and you will learn from it. You will learn from it. So let them face, let's let them feel that consequence. Don't come in to, save them and all of that. Natural consequences, let them go through. Okay. And then we have the weekly family responsibility chart. So you can create a simple chart where your child has duties, age appropriate duties. So if you have 2 kids, if you have 3 kids, do for each child. Let them know their responsibility for the home. Tell them that we are a family, a group of family, and we all have responsibilities to help make the family, the kind of family we want. Mom has their responsibility, daddy has his responsibility. Every child has something to contribute to help the family. And these are the things you have to do to help. So you have to do this. So you can just write them and then, paste on your wall so that the child will see that, okay, this is what I have to do whilst you guide them through. And I think that's all. That's all. That's all for now. So these are the 3 exercises I have given you. Make sure you try them out to see how it goes. And I'll be glad to get a review on the exercises I have given you. Please take note that overprotection comes from love, but it must be disciplined by wisdom. Don't just overprotect your child. Think through before you give, before you come in to save them. Responsibility is a muscle that if you carry everything, your child becomes nothing. Okay. Your goal is not to make life easy for your child. That is not our goal. But our goal is to make our children strong enough for life. You won't always be there for your child. So equip them to be strong for life. Whenever they go places without you, mom, dad is not around, they will be able to find, they'll be able to maneuver, they'll be able to at least know what to do. Very, very important. Our jobs as parents is not to remove every obstacle from your child's path, but your job is to raise a child who knows how to walk, who knows how to climb, who knows how to think, who knows how to rise. This is our job. as parents. And we need to position ourselves by growing, by building ourselves to be able to help position these kids the way they need to be positioned. Thank you so much for your time. Next week, we are going to have our class on Wednesday, 12 p.m. And I hope to see you. I hope you have learned something. You can still join the Inner Tribe program. So after 10th of December, we are going to increase the price. Yes. So if you are interested, you can join. It's for a whole year. 1,500 just divided by 365 days. You could see that you are just spending something, very, very, very small. So I'll entreat you, join and learn, because we can only give better if we have filled our cups enough. So let us come together and learn so that we can raise responsible, we can raise wholesome children, so that we can change the narrative for Ghana and Africa. Thank you all, and see you next week. All right. Thank you too. Thank you too, ma'am. Thank you too. See you all next week. Bye.